Hi everybody. I wanted to make a video today about the narcissistic abuse cycle at work because a number of you have told me that it would be helpful if I spoke more about workplace sociopathy. One of my subscribers mentioned workplace mobbing, and I want to try to make that clearer for people so that they can identify if they're in a narcissistic work environment and maybe even leave that narcissistic work environment. I actually just got out of the gym, so my hair is like a hot mess. I hope the bow tie covers it. Now, I wanted to say that at work, the narcissist operates pretty much in the same way that they operate in other sorts of relationships, spousal relationships, and familial relationships, but there's a slight difference in that the extent of the attachment, at least in the beginning, doesn't have anything to do with your emotions or your biochemistry as much as it has to do with your paycheck. So a person is attached to their boss because they are in control of their livelihood. So narcissistic bosses will seek supply at work and will usually use a paycheck in order to control people, whether that means giving them a raise, demoting them, withholding their paycheck. There's numbers of ways that narcissists use your livelihood against you, your need for a livelihood against you. Now, I want to start by saying that there's a lot of cynicism within the collective society that it's hard to find a good boss, and that empowers narcissists, that sort of view. But I disagree. I think that there are workplaces that are not, that don't have sociopaths in power. I think that there are workplaces where sociopaths are actually removed from positions of authority and fired because their personality creates a lot of havoc and lack of production a lot of the time. Because when people are nervous or stressed or at their wits' end, they don't perform at their best. And that's just a fact. So, irrespective of whether or not you suffered trauma in the past, the fact is that nobody likes bullies. Normal people, at least, do not like bullies. But people, for some reason, justify abuse at work, whether it be directed at them or directed at other people, because they want to avoid the cognitive dissonance, because cognitive dissonance is stressful. So having conflicting thoughts or beliefs about your actions, if you're at work and you are basically, just by you being at work, you're basically accepting the terms of employment and you're accepting the workplace for what it is. And so if somebody's getting bullied, you minimize your dissonance about them being bullied because you have to justify why you're getting up at 7 o'clock to go to this job where people are bullied. And maybe you will blame the victim, maybe you will blame the employee that's being bullied, maybe you will try to rationalize why they're being targeted. But if it's a narcissistic workplace, eventually people catch on, and there's a high level of turnover in narcissistic workplaces. Usually narcissists will keep other narcissists around if they're covert narcissists, and they will try to empower them by giving them promotions and raises and putting them in positions of authority so that they don't have to do the bullying themselves and they could save their reputation. Usually narcissists will keep people that give them supply around. So they like people that are panicky, that are fidgety, that will commit to them, that will put their own lives aside in order to help them. They like people that are completely in the dark about sociopathy, that play dumb, that aren't willing to step in, sycophants, bootlickers. Let's say they're a famous fashion designer. They happen to be a narcissist. They think about the sorts of employees that were presented in the movie The Devil Wears Prada, where Nigel and I forgot the name of the other character are completely worshipping this narcissist. They don't care that the narcissist is a horrible person. They only care about the fact that this is the narcissist. This is like a great label. This is a great fashion designer. And I am privileged to be working for this genius. So people that give them positive supply, people that give them negative supply, but people that basically do not challenge their authority are the sorts of people that stay long term within these organizations. Now, let's say you go into an interview and the narcissist is asking you questions, and as they're looking at you, they're sizing you up, and they're basically measuring whether or not you would be susceptible to their trickery. And they look at you, size you up, and they basically try to guess what category of employee you will be. Are you going to be the one that's going to slave all day? Are you going to be the one that's going to worship the fact that they have the privilege of bringing you coffee in the morning? Are you going to be the one that's going to be in cahoots with them, that's going to be the office mole, that's going to be ratting on other people? So they will basically try to gauge what sort of personality you have. And this can be gauged by how you talk about your previous experiences. If you talk about saving the world and saving the whales and all of this pious stuff, maybe you are genuinely a good person, they will try to target you 90% of the time, because they don't like idealistic people. They don't like people that think that they have the power to change the world and to make it a better place. So they will probably victimize you, and just for the sake of being accurate about this, because I've been in this situation many times. I have presented myself as a person that wants to change the world, wants to help people, because I genuinely am like that. I tend to gravitate towards meaningful employment that makes a difference, and I value that. If I feel that I'm making a difference at my job in helping people, and particularly traumatized people, then I feel a sense of wholeness from that experience. So let's say you come to the interview and you're one of those idealistic people that believe that your actions matter and that you can change the outlook of clients or change their lives in some way. The narcissist will zero in, and they will start the same sort of narcissistic abuse cycle that they would start if you were their spouse. So they will start, let's say they decided to hire you because you have beautiful rose-colored glasses all written all over you on your eyes, and you look like a person that stands their ground and wants to save the world. they will start love bombing you at the interview. So they'll start saying, wow, you're a Buddhist? I'm also a Buddhist. Look at all the spiritual things that I have all over my office. I'm also a committed Buddhist. Or they'll say something like, I'm exactly like you. I like helping people too. That's the core values of my organization. And I want to hire you. So they'll hire you on the spot. They won't give you time to think about going to another employer, as most normal people would do, because they've already assessed your supply potential, and they figured out that this is a person that's easy to hoodwink, and I want to torture them. I want to leave them in a sense of with a sense of disillusionment. So I better strike now and reel them in. And of course, because you're unemployed and you don't have a job and you need to pay bills, you say yes, absolutely. And so, like all narcissists do, they prey on the person's vulnerability. They prey on the fact that the person needs a paycheck and needs a paycheck right this second because they're unemployed. So they will start love bombing you, telling you, well, you're exactly what I'm looking for, and I'm not going to interview anybody else. I'm not going to even call your references. They may even say that. And I think that you have great potential, and you obviously have a lot of experience, so they're going to idealize you at this stage to get you on a hook. And they may even have this kind of smile on their face, like, and this smile is just a smile that the crackhead would have when they see the crack in front of them. They know they can devour the crack and get high, and that's how they look at their new supply. So when they know that they can use the leverage that they have financially, the money that they have, to dishearten another person, to traumatize them, and to make them feel like they're worth nothing because their boss tells them that they're worth nothing, they have this twisted smile on their face, this twisted grin. And the way you can basically root out if it's a potential narcissistic boss, despite all of your euphoria at having a job offer, is because they move quick, because they don't give you an opportunity to look for another job or to consider other propositions. And they're very enthusiastic. They're overly enthusiastic about you without knowing you. So normal people do not have that sort of reaction. They're going to size you up. They're going to try to understand maybe if you are a sociopath, because maybe they've had experience with hiring sociopathic workers that have sabotaged them. So they will size you up. They will check your references 2 times, 3 times. They will ask you more questions. They will weigh all the resumes in front of them before they truly understand who has the best qualifications for the position, who's likely to stay at the company for a longer time, who's likely to do this or that, because they're not because normal people are not addicted to drama and chaos, and their value systems and the way what they value in an employee are very, very, very much different from what the narcissistic boss values. The narcissistic boss is looking for somebody that they can control, and in this idealization phase, they are basically putting you on a pedestal in order to knock you down from that pedestal. So for months, maybe 2 months, they will compliment you. They will give you candy and maybe buy you lunches and tell you how great a job you're doing, how they've never had an employee like you,